Hi everyone, this is Paul here from the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing the astrology report for the new moon in Gemini, which takes place on the 3rd of June at 11:01 AM here in the UK, which translates as 10:01 at Universal Time. And I'm outlining some of the key themes that this particular new moon highlights, along with certain aspects to it which add an extra flavour to the new moon. Now, in terms of the new moon in Gemini, new moons are generally seen as an opportunity for new beginnings, but with the sun being the conscious self and the moon the subconscious mind, it's symbolically an opportunity to set new intentions or to seek to elevate the functioning or the level that we operate within the given sign that the new moon is taking place in. So with this taking place in Gemini, Gemini is the mutable air sign. It's all about the mind, it's about the thoughts, communication, perception, and it's the immediate environment. Now, at some level, Gemini also contains all of the subconscious mental programming that we have from our past. So the way our thinking patterns, how we tend to process information, and how we tend to see the world around us. But for us to be able to see anything clearly requires that we also learn to be present in the moment. Because Gemini, in order for us to see anything clearly, we have to move beyond conditioned thinking and move beyond seeing everything through words and labels. It's moving beyond how we think about things and learning to be in the present moment. So with the new moon in Gemini, one of the things that we can use this particular new moon for, or seek to learn from it, is to learn to recognize where we're seeing things through old ways of perceiving things. So it's learning to separate who we are from our thoughts and learn to heed them and to recognize where our thinking about a topic is clouding our perception. Because at the highest level of Gemini, it's about learning to be in the present moment and to perceive reality as it is, not how we want it to be or how we think it should be. It's moving beyond thinking into awareness. And Gemini also rules our communication, so part of that is also about recognizing where our communication isn't as effective as it could be. And communication obviously deals not only with the words that we speak, it also deals with our capacity to listen to new information and to let go of the need to make everything operate the way we think it should be, or to let go of the need to try and dominate conversation and control the narrative, as it were, as instead be open to new ways of perceiving information, let go of the need to have everything operate to our point of view, and instead recognize that no one point of view is entirely accurate. No one point of view sees truth as it is. The only way that we can perceive truth as it is by learning to live in the present moment. So it's moving beyond conditioned thinking from the past. It's moving beyond the need to always mentally obsess over the future based on past conditioning. It's in the present moment that our mental conditioning starts to unravel, where we learn to move beyond seeing everything through the eyes of the past, as instead learn to detach from it and learn to be in the present moment, see things as they are. So a key area, or key tool for us, is all about the breathing. It's about whenever we're engaging in conversation and it's becoming, the ego is getting involved, it's taking that step back of breathing and seeking to see things as they are. So it's learning to value truth over our own point of view. So it's learning to let go of opinions and seek only the truth. So with this particular new moon in Gemini, this is an opportunity for us to learn to recognize when we're seeing things or thinking about things based on or conditioning or how we've been taught them the way we're supposed to be thinking, and instead learn to let go of obsessing over the past, let go of that tired record that's going round and round in circles and getting more and more loud static because it's dysfunctional. So instead allowing the mind to become quiet again. So one of the things that can help us to develop this is to learn to breathe and have some kind of spiritual practice that allows the mind to become present and allows us to detach from our thoughts, so that we become or enter that witness state, the observer that observes the thoughts rather than gets bound up by thoughts. So it's learning to let go of the need to analyse everything, let go of the need to believe, or let go of the need to know everything. And it's recognising that none of us do know everything. It's about that capacity to step back and rise above the thinking mind, because it's when we let go of thinking that we're no longer bound in the web of words. We rise above it and we learn to see how information is interconnected. We learn to rise above different points of view and recognise that they're all different ways of seeing the same truth. But truth itself cannot be expressed in words. It's not in the words, it's in the essence of it. We recognise truth not by how profound the words sound, but it's that inner knowing that gets triggered when we hear the truth. And obviously the words that we're hearing that are expressing the truth may not convey the whole truth, but if they are based around trying to explain a fundamental truth, if we recognise it as truth, it will feel right to us. It's learning to allow the intuitive functions to come in to the process as well. So Gemini also rules our speech. It's about learning to only speak when it is necessary, as it were, and in those instances always seek to speak the truth as best we know it, but be open to the possibility that we don't know the full truth. We only have part of the picture. So just having that curiosity, or curious nature of Gemini, it's about remembering to always be the student, always be open to information that will challenge our current understanding, but will ultimately allow us to see the world more clearly as it is. We all have, to some extent, a biased perception if we're not living in the present moment, so none of us see all the information in the world exactly in its right context. We'll see some of it in the right way, but other areas will be distorted. So communication in its true sense should just be a tool to help us weed out the perceptual biases, weed out where we have limited perceptions or where we're narrow-minded, and to seek to share the truth as best we know it, but recognise that we don't know all of it. So if someone doesn't necessarily take it on board, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be that the truth as we understand it doesn't necessarily serve the other person. It's also important that we recognise how the way someone else has explained the truth may not resonate with us, and that's okay. It's about not taking anything personally. It's don't take anything personally and don't assume anything. It's being honest enough to recognise that we don't know everything, and it's about learning to move beyond the need to mentally mull everything over, to think about things and get bound up with our own thinking. It's instead learning to be grounded and present, to be in the present moment where the truth is experienced directly. It's learning to move beyond the need to put everything into words. It's about learning to understand the essence of things. It's about learning to see the world as it is, not how we think it is. It's moving beyond mental models and learning to live in the present moment, which is where the truth is found. Because when we're present in life, we find that the thinking naturally dies back. We feel that sense of connection, but it's not based on mental understanding. We just are, we're just being. It's just moving beyond being human thinkings to human beings. This particular new moon is obviously ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in his home sign of Gemini for the time being, but will be moving into Cancer the day after the new moon. So the mental energy is very strong at this time, and if we don't watch our thoughts, we can end up being swept along by them. We lose connection with the present moment, and we stop seeing things clearly. So during this time, we need to be mindful of how our own thinking clouds our perception or takes us away from the present moment and fuels the ego as a result. So it's learning to be present with the thoughts. It's not judging them, it's just accepting that they're there. But breath, or the breathing, is one of the most powerful tools we have at this time to reconnect with the present moment, because breathing only happens in the present moment, it doesn't happen in the past or future. So the breath is one of the most important tools we have to reconnect with the present moment and learn to ground all of that mental energy out through living in the present rather than obsessing about the past or future and getting stuck in old thought patterns, if you like. The new moon is also connected to Jupiter in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces. So it's in a weak opposition to Jupiter and a weak square to Neptune. So with Jupiter in Sagittarius, this is all about moving beyond just information and random pieces of or random facts. Jupiter in Sagittarius is all about the big picture. It's learning to see things holistically. So it's moving beyond the boxes that Gemini assigns information to. It's learning to see that everything operates in a natural way. Everything has a natural place within the big picture. So it's recognizing microcosm and macrocosm, and it's challenging us to make sure that our own belief systems allow us to operate in alignment with truth. And so it's learning that detachment from both our thoughts and our beliefs to some extent, because if our beliefs cause us suffering through cognitive dissonance because we're presented with a truth that directly challenges them, then we need to be able to let go of it. And with Neptune in Pisces, Neptune is all about the egoless state. It's about moving beyond ego and moving beyond this concept of enemies, because the ego thrives on a sense of adversity. It needs that challenge, or needs to have that sense of other with other, in terms of how we see other people and other points of view. It defines itself by content or thoughts or ideas, but Neptune directly challenges that, because Neptune is about surrendering to the infinite. It's about challenging the ego's concept of everything being an objective reality. Neptune reminds us that reality is actually non-linear. It doesn't operate with the kind of linear logic that Gemini and its ruler Mercury operate by. It's not that boxed in thinking. It's about surrendering and learning to just be. It's about living in the present moment. It's about surrendering to a higher power, whether you call it God's, universe, universal consciousness, whatever word floats your boat. They're just terms or words for the same kind of energy. It's learning to have that attitude of surrender. It's about allowing the world to not make rational sense. It's understanding that the world does not operate in a linear way. It's inherently non-linear. Everything in the world operates by cycles. Nothing that's natural operates in the straight lines that the ego wants things to operate by. It doesn't conform to boxes. And with Neptune aspecting the Sun, it's about letting go of rigid self-definitions. It's about letting go of, or separating our identity from labels. It's not labeling ourselves or basing ourselves on mental concepts. It's about learning to just be. It's recognizing that we are ultimately spiritual beings having a human experience, and the closest way to experience who we really are is to be in the present moment and feel our spiritual essence, to recognize that we are ultimately pure consciousness. And with Neptune's aspect to the moon, it's about remembering the importance of kindness and compassion, of remembering that in order for our words to have the best and most truthful impact, if you like, and the most empowering, our words need to be guided by love and compassion, not just cold, insensitive words that will obviously trigger other people's egos. Because as important as it is to tell the truth and to seek to be honest, truth without love actually hurts people and creates resistance to the truth. Truth delivered with love and compassion behind it can move beyond the walls of the ego and help touch the real self or the higher self of the other person. But it's not about trying to be a saviour or anything like that. It's just seeking to own our own truths, to live our own truths out, and allow our core essence or our energy to do the work rather than trying to preach to other people. It's learning to move beyond the need to be right, to let go of any of that self-righteousness. It's to be humble, honest, and seek to be present in our own lives. The more present we are in our own lives, the more we empower ourselves going forward, because we let go of all those mental definitions that keep us in a box. We learn to live life in the present moment where true fulfillment takes place. We learn to become more loving in our speech, more kind in our thoughts and words. And it's about learning to love ourselves, to let go of limiting ourselves through the mental labels that we've been raised on. It's let go of the labels, break free of the box, learn to live in the present moment, let go of obsessive thinking, let go of the old mental tapes that go around and around in our head and keep us stuck in the past. It's letting go of obsessing over the future. The only function that looking to the future serves is to identify the direction that we want to go in. But once we know the direction we want to go in, or what is the best, what will serve our higher self, what will allow us to move towards that humanitarian perspective, we then have to create it in the present moment, because the present moment is the only thing that really matters. Looking to the future only serves to identify the direction we need to go in, but from there it's only in the present moment that we can actually take the actions necessary to bring that future into being. Otherwise, it's just another mental concept, it's another thing that keeps us from being in the present moment. It's being present with ourselves, of reconnecting with our core essence, of reconnecting with the truth of the fact that we are actually pure consciousness. We're not the egos, we're not all these mental labels that we're told that we should be. And it's learning to let go of the need to judge in that respect as well. So if we use this new moon constructively, this is a powerful opportunity for us all to break free from our past, to clear out the past of all the mental conditioning, because the more we do the work of Gemini, the easier the work of Cancer will be, which is when we go to the emotional conditioning or the emotional dross from the past, the emotional attachments. Letting go of the mental attachments and the thoughts that drive emotional conditioning is the first step. If we use this time to clear out the past, to surrender the need to hold on to what was, and let go of the need to let go of regrets or mulling over how we think things should be, when we're in the present moment, that's where the true power lies. That is where life takes place. If we live in the present moment and seek to be present with people around us, we see reality as it is, we stop taking things personally, the ego loses its power and it's reduced to the role of allowing us to interact with the world around us, and just becomes the vehicle to allow the soul to do its job in the world. It ceases to be in charge. And this is the kind of direction we need to be aiming in life, is to let go of the ego's programming and learn to live in the present moment, live in love and truth, and to be our truth rather than just speaking it. Because words at the end of the day, they're a poor substitute for reality as it is. If you ever consider a spiritual experience that you've ever had, as soon as you try to explain it in words, the words reduce the essence of it. They try to box it in, and spirit cannot be put into a box. So the more we can be present with ourselves and let the energy of our being do the speaking, the more powerful our influence in the world is, the more we radiate the loving energy that counteracts all the darkness that we're seeing around us, and through taking ownership of our own thoughts and taking control of them, so that we don't allow the negative thoughts to take control and to create negative realities. This is the time for us to really work on overcoming the past, letting go of habitual thinking, and only allowing the thoughts that inspire us, that uplift us, to take root in our minds, because those are the only thoughts that will really help us to be our best selves. Anything that's about keeping us small or keeping our sense of identity in a box will not serve us going forward. We're in a time where it's time to break free of all of that now, to let go of who we thought we were and embrace who we really are. So may the new moon in Gemini bring you many new insights and many blessings. Take care.